I had this dream last night where I came up here naked, so close. I love to surf, and I've been fortunate enough to be able to travel around the world surfing from a really young age. When I was a senior in high school, I learned about something that really caught my attention. I learned that when you put money into a bank, that money doesn't stay there. I learned that banks actually use your money to lend out and make loans. So just like when you need a home loan, right, to buy a house, big corporations also need big loans to move forward with projects. So when you look at this system, banks rely on us for our money, and corporations rely on banks to move forward with projects. So we are actually the ones in the driver's seat here. When I was 18, I took an awesome trip down to Chile. Chile is it's like California, but like 100 years ago. And the waves are great, the people are friendly, the landscape's beautiful. And I was surfing in a place called Constitucion. And there was a proposed coal power plant going in on the beach, right in this town. And all the locals were against this coal power plant. And one of the locals actually took me out to the site of this coal plant. And it was a really heavy experience for me because I was able to see firsthand the unfair destruction of a corporation coming into a community against the citizens' will and destroying it. And that experience of going to the site of the coal plant, this is right near there. That's me surfing. And it really affected me. And I thought back to what I had learned in school about how banks make it possible for corporations to move forward with projects. So I did some research, and I was wondering, I wonder what bank is making this possible. So I did some research and found out that Bank of America was the funder of this coal company, and it was a weird experience because I was able to see for the first time that it was our money being used to fund the destruction of this community down in Chile. And I felt like if it's our money that's making this possible, then we have the power to stop it. And I felt like if other surfers could see what I was able to see firsthand, then it might affect them in the same way. And so what else I learned is not all banks are the same. So you put your money into a bank like Bank of America, and it's sucked out of your community to fund, say, a coal power plant. I learned that Bank of America is one of the largest funders of coal power worldwide. If you put your money into a local bank, it's also lent out, but it's lent out within your community. So it's really exciting because in a time when our national economy is in trouble, we have the power to keep our money within local banks and have strong, resilient local economies, even when the national economy is in trouble, which is really exciting because you have the power to stop funding the problem and start funding the solution all in one move. So I made a 4-minute movie about my experience down in Chile and encouraged surfers to move their money and open accounts at local banks. And this movie went out on YouTube, and a bunch of surfers started passing it around, and then surfers started taking action and then inspiring other surfers to take action. And then surf companies started moving their money. And then people who didn't surf started moving their money. And I released this movie when I was 19, and I'm 21 now. And to date, I've documented over $340 million of lending power being moved out of Bank of America and into local banks around the country. And this experience in Chile totally led me on the path that I'm on now. Now I run a free online TV series called Surfing for Change, where I take a surf trip and document a social or environmental issue happening in that town and tie it back to Santa Cruz and show a systemic action, daily decision that we can take that will then have a systemic impact both on our community as well as the lives of people on the trip that I went on. So I hope that you check that out, surfingforchange.com. Since my experience in Chile, what I've really learned and taken with me is that through your daily decisions, you have the power to change your community. And through your daily decisions, you have the power to change the lives of other people around the world. And this change starts with something as simple as opening an account at your local bank. Thank you.